After finally receiving my Irish passport, my husband and I decided to visit my Irish grandmother's birthplace, a small village about 15 miles from what must be the world's windiest town, Newry. Despite the village technically being less than 500 miles away from our home, we knew that it would be a long and arduous journey, not least because it involved a well-known, low-cost Irish airline which has a long-standing reluctance to let my husband board because he consistently has the cheek to show them a non-EU passport. After persuading the airline yet again that my husband is not an illegal alien, we made it to what is formerly known as the island of Ireland and negotiated the pleasant but cruelly short train ride to Newry before boarding the bone-rattling Irish countryside bus to the village. What felt like 12 joint dislocating hours later, we finally arrived. Given that the village consisted of a single square and a giant cemetery, we thought that finding a house with the address, number 4, the square, would be fairly straightforward. We thought wrong. After going round the village several times with no success, we finally admitted defeat and headed for the Tourist Information Centre. Why a village of approximately 20 houses and very little else requires a Tourist Information Centre is anyone's guess, but it seemed worth a shot. When we entered, the people inside denied that it was a Tourist Information Centre, despite a very obvious sign above the door. They advised us to ask in the library next door, where we were told that the house numbers had been rejigged some years before, and there was no longer a number 4. But Mrs. Quinn in the taxi office would know which house had been the original number 4. Through her thinly veiled alarm at the presence of visitors to the village, Mrs. Quinn told us that she didn't think there had ever been a number 4, even though there were numbers 3, 5 and 6, and number 4 is clearly stated on my grandmother's birth certificate. She then told us that the priest might know where my grandmother had lived, and asked us what part of America we had come from. We took this as a signal to leave and headed to the church, but the priest was mysteriously absent. There was only one bus back to Newry that afternoon, and presumably every afternoon, so we had to leave, but not before seeing a man being towed around the square in a trailer, covered in what we could only hope was mud. The bus driver told us that that was a tradition for visitors to the village, but later admitted that it was actually just the man's stag party. All in all, it was an enlightening trip despite not finding my grandmother's house, but probably not one to be repeated, not least because we prefer our joints intact and don't want to risk being the next trailer victims. Next time on Neurotic Thinkings, a Valentine's special, Neurotic Nuptials. Why not click subscribe for more rantings, queries and general cynicism? Thanks for watching.